Hi, it's Daniel Norton and welcome to the first edition of the portcast, which will be a regular feature on our club website, and we'll chat to past and present Port Adelaide and football personalities on a regular basis about a whole range of issues, particularly football issues, of course. And joining me today for our first one is 2004 Premiership hero Byron Pickett with some special news to talk about shortly. And joining him as well is Paul Vandenberg, who does a great job as our Aboriginal Engagement Employment Manager here at Port Adelaide. Firstly, Byron, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, mate. Good to be here.
You have a new role at the club that you'd like to tell us about.
Yeah, just joining up with Paul. Just going out to do regional visits and just do such stuff around town as well with schools and stuff.
Fantastic, nice and rewarding. Can you give us a bit more of an insight, Paul, into exactly what they will?
We've got a partnership program we have with the Maringa Lands, which is all about engaging in those communities that are pretty remote parts of South Australia, and putting some AFL players in that space and in their community and in their homes to sort of give them a bit of taste of AFL football, I guess. But it's all about participation and getting them to participate in obviously playing football. And we're talking about healthy eating, making the right choices. And we're talking about communities that are, really remote, like so close to the South Australian WA border, which takes a good day and a half to get to. So it's a fair bit of travelling involved in that, but it's certainly really rewarding seeing the kids. And most times we go there, we're looking at about 300 kids normally that rock up, and they come from different communities from around that area. And we find it really rewarding, and we love that. I actually really enjoy that program more than anything, because I think those kids really do have a lack of access to services, and that's one of the things that we're trying to do is engage them, but also talk about some of the opportunities that we're trying to provide from the Port Adelaide Football Club to those youth and the kids there. That if you do come to Adelaide, that we can look after you there and hopefully help out in whether it's work experience or schooling and all that sort of stuff. So it's really rewarding.
Looking forward to it, Byron. Obviously combining a couple of passions, your culture and the Port Adelaide Football Club, and working with kids. It's going to be a pretty rewarding experience.
Yeah, it is. I've got brothers and cousins that live in Ceduna and Lincoln, and it's good to get back there and obviously go and see them and speak to their kids as well.
Put something back in the community.
Yeah, get something back.
I know you're very passionate about your culture. You actually came to the club 3 weeks ago and before the Indigenous round and spoke to the playing group and staff, both of you actually, in regards to the Aboriginal culture. You're extremely passionate about that. How did that feel when you came and spoke to the staff about that, Byron?
It was something different. I never really spoke about my family like that before, but I'll just say that when I was the grand final week, I had a fair bit of my family staying at my house in December for that year, and I'm a type of bloke that hardly says no, to my family and that. But I suppose when you got elders, I think in the Aboriginal culture, we always respect the elders and our family. And like I was saying, said that day that I had close to 20 to 30 people at my house.
20 to 30?
Popping in and out, visiting. So,
okay.
It's
extraordinary.
Not just that week, though.
So can you explain that, though? I mean, if you're not part of that culture, that's hard to comprehend. So there's a real willingness to be loyal and respect your elders. So to have 30 people living in your home seems extraordinary. If you're not part of that culture, can you explain why you felt you had to do that?
I'm originally from WA, and majority of my family are in West Australia, and that's probably the main people that were at home, coming in, visiting, whatever, at home, are the people from West Australia.
So you're obligated, though, to provide them with a place to stay, and are you obligated to provide them other things, in terms of resources, food, money?
Yeah, absolutely, transport.
And if you don't do that, Paul, you're frowned upon.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a big thing in our culture to provide for the family, especially when you get in positions where you're seen as a provider and a leader amongst your own family and community, that you sort of get elevated to another level. And that's the case with most AFL footballers, Aboriginal footballers, particularly in Byron's case, where South Australia's, probably the number one sport is the AFL football, so you actually put on the map even bigger in South Australia, and then you got your family obligations, and then you got the rest of the South Australian community obligations to, provide, be at events, be at different functions, because the moment you take your foot off the pedal, or the moment you actually don't do that, a lot of criticisms comes your way, and a lot of players have faced a lot of scrutiny with their own family and their own people about not providing or not being there for them. But unfortunately, family don't see it as
optional.
Yeah, it's not an option for them, and it's not about it's not about the future for anyone. It's just about now. We need your help. We need you're there. You've got money. You're a provider.
Yeah.
You need to give it to us. So
you're trying to prepare for the biggest game of your career, the biggest game. You're trying to focus all week. You may not get another opportunity like this, and you've got 30 people living in your home.
Yeah.
The week leading up to it, or the night before the game, or the few days leading up to the game?
Probably a week, I reckon. Just some people come in, go out.
So did that inspire you, or did it destabilise? Did it unsettle you?
I don't know, I'm pretty used to it. Growing up like that, get a little bit used to it, and I think.
It's amazing because did it affect your sleep or your routine or anything?
No.
No,
obviously it didn't.
No, I was going to say in hindsight, the reason why I said did it inspire you is because it's an astonishing story, because of course the next day you go out there and you play effectively the game of your life on the middle of the MCG. You win the Norm Smith medal. You kick Port Adelaide to victory.
Well, I think every time I played footy, I played footy not for myself but for my people.
Okay.
My family. That's where I draw it from.
They inspired you. You play football to represent your people.
People, yeah.
That's fantastic.
But it's also about you along with yourself, Sean and Peter and Graham. You really put Mallee Park Football Club on the map.
Yeah.
And talked about and plus your community. You're promoting your community. You're getting the non-Aboriginal world to really see that there is some good that comes out of different communities around Australia, and I guess these boys really put Port Lincoln and Mallee Park on the map, and you can see that's been a real breeding ground for Aboriginal talent in the AFL.
So wind the clock back to that day. I mean, did you just feel like it was Port Adelaide's day, and it was going to be a day that you were going to represent your people with just great skill on the national stage?
Yeah, I think the first couple of minutes probably said a lot about what we wanted to do that day. I think I remember Choco telling me to come off the line and just whoever's in your way, just take them out or
bowl them over. Okay.
try and bowl them over. Yeah, and I actually did that, but I think Brogues gave the free kick. He just charged into.
He did too.
Heading, I think, give the free kick away
at the centre bounce. Yeah.
Centre bounce. Yeah. I ended up with the ball. So just imagine if they'd give a free kick away and someone else had the ball, well,
you would have gone straight through him.
Yeah.
But I mean, you kicked 3 that day.
Yeah.
One of them was an outstanding goal where you took 2 or 3 bounces and kicked it. I mean, you must have just felt really, really comfortable though that day.
Yeah, I think you get a couple of touches early. Well, this is my opinion. Is if I get a couple of touches early, start to think, I might have a good day today. The man who my opponent meant to be on me, I think it was Copeland.
Yeah.
He had just paid me no respect. I think he just kept double teaming, went to double team, I think, and just left me by myself. And
is there any truth to the story though? Because you had a daughter,
yep,
like with you that day. Did you ask for her to be sitting close to the fence, get the family close to the fence, because you knew before the game, you knew that this was going to be a game that Port were going to win?
I think all the family were pretty close to the fence anyways, and then when we won it, siren went, all the family come closer.
Yeah. So you get the Norm Smith medal.
Yeah.
And you've got your baby daughter in your hands. Yeah. You're representing your people. I mean, tell us about that.
Yeah, it was pretty special. It's something that I won't forget. Never forget.
Emotional?
Yeah, a little bit emotional. My parents come obviously from Lincoln, long drive, as they do if they come from Lincoln or WA. It's always a travel. I mean, they like driving. They don't like flying much, but that might be Blackpool thing, I reckon.
I think it might have been special too with Peter and Sean, I guess, too, eh?
Yeah, Peter and Sean, we played in a Mallee Park under 17 grand final years ago.
Okay.
And Sean, he Surely would have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the shortest.
To share that great experience together would have been just unbelievable. Is it your greatest football memory?
Yeah. It'd be definitely right up there. Just because of the family thing and like Paulie just said, Shawnee and Pete on that.
I mean, you won a premiership at North Melbourne as well, so that would obviously, rank high up. Where does that fit in the scheme of things? Or was the Port Adelaide one something that really stood out?
Yeah, I think the Port one stood out. The North one was awesome too because I played with all those great players before me. So
amazing experience. Which we just touched on family too. You've got 5 children.
Yeah, I got 3 girls and 2 boys.
Okay, and their ages?
Michaela's 14. She's at Emmanuel College.
Oh, cool.
Shawanna's 12, 13, 13, so she'll be here next year.
Yeah.
And it goes down to Keisha, the grand final baby. She's 9.
9 already, yeah.
Yeah, 9. And then Byron 7 and Kate is 5.
Did she watch that grand final footage and say that's me?
Every time we see it on TV or on a DVD or something, or even if it's in a paper, just every now and then.
Yeah.
So, Keisha, look, that's you. And she gets all shy. Oh, no.
The 2 boys you said?
Yeah.
Footballers, they got their father's genes.
Yeah, Byron, the oldest one, I was in WA for a month or 2, and every morning he gets up, Declan, let's go and have a kick. Have a kick, and have a kick. But every morning I said, just wait, have breakfast first. Maybe later we'll have a little kick around, but loves the footy. When that day, Indigenous round we had here, he was right up the front when we got all the all the boys, sons and that.
Yeah.
I don't know, he was right up there.
Fantastic that day against North Melbourne, Look, you spoke about it at the opening bounce of the grand final where Choco said he wanted you to go in there and lay hip and shoulder and bowl a few over. And a tough part of your career, obviously we've spoken about the good time, but you almost got officiated out of the game, didn't you, by the umpires in sort of 2005, around that period there where you'd laid a couple of heavy hip and shoulders in that time, in that era, but they were starting to say players couldn't hip and shoulder or hit in the head or leave the ground. And I think Choco actually said the AFL was making Byron almost unemployable. I mean, how did you feel?
A little bit shocked. Probably took away one of the best assets of my game. I suppose, I reckon they was waiting for me to do something, and then once I did, they just, hit me with a big suspension or fine or whatever.
But you play an instinct. Instinct's so important in football, in even any level of football. And your instinct was within the rules. Growing up through the 90s, was you could lay hip and shoulder, and you could tuck your elbow in and hip and shoulder someone. And then suddenly they changed the rules effectively in the mid 2000s to say you can't do that. I mean, a player who plays with such instinct, did you think, well, do I have any future in this game anymore? Is that there across your mind?
A little bit, not a lot. I mean, every game I played, I didn't target someone. I didn't say to any of the players, I'm going to get this bloke, this player. It just happened. On that day, it just happened. I said, if it's there to be done, I'll do it. But
yeah, we know that. There were plenty of victims over the years.
I think the only one I didn't target when I was at Melbourne, Neil Danaher asked me to get Crowley that day.
Ryan Crowley?
Yeah.
The tagger?
Tagger, yeah. And I got him that day. So that was the only time that the coach one of the coaches asked me to get him.
Okay.
If you get a chance to get him today, get him.
Well, you laid out. You laid many players to rest. I mean, and all most within the rules, should I say? What was your favourite bump? Have you got a favourite bump out of all those bumps that you think, oh, geez, I've got it sweet that day?
I won't say Matty Nix because he's in the coaching staff. I got him one day at MCG. It wasn't a hard one, just a nice little bump, and he just banged, went back over the boundary. All drink bottles there, all smashed all the drink bottles.
So that was playing for North
When
Melbourne?
he was in Sydney, and I was at Kangas.
Yep.
My best would have to be Rhett Beglands because he's a ruckman.
Oh, in that final in 05?
Yeah,
I
think they beat us.
Yeah, we won't go into that, but but that was midway through the second quarter, and do you recall much of that? Because it's a famous moment in showdowns. Look, from looking at the vision, it looks like Biglands tries to charge you 110 kilos of Biglands running towards you, who would have weighed about 80 kilos then. Can you run us through what was going through your mind, or it all just happened in a flash?
Well, I was running from half forward, I think it was, and I knew I wasn't going to get the guy carrying the ball, but I saw Beagles coming towards me, and I said I'll just keep going for a little while and see what happens. And he kept coming. And then when he got close, I just went straight for him.
and he was in Disney World for a while.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, no.
I spoke to him at Lincoln a couple of months ago, last year.
Yeah.
And he said, "How'd you do it?" I had you on a plate, you know. And I said, "Yeah, little did you know that I had you lined up as well." So, yeah.
Did you cop much flack from spectators? The way you played the game and from a cultural perspective as well? As you were playing football over the years, did you cop any racial abuse or any flack?
No, probably 98 or 99 might have copped a little bit in Melbourne, but as the game went on, you know, how it is now, all that is pretty much dead and gone. Oh, it's not gone, but they don't say it as much.
Yeah.
I mean, but,
they were probably scared of you. Yeah. He was fantastic. Well, look, it's been fantastic catching up with you on our first podcast. It's brilliant to have you on board at the football club in your role, and Paul, thanks for coming in and having a bit of a chat this afternoon as well and explaining the role. We think he's going to be a great asset for the club moving forward, and it's great to have a past champion back amongst us once again as well. So thanks, Byron, and thanks, Paul, for being a part of the podcast.
Thank you, Daniel.
no worries.